recording now.
Okay.
So this is the second episode of what is now the Whiskey Cage.
The Whiskey Cage.
And we should make a mention that this podcast is not called the Cage Cast.
No, it is not.
I referred to it several times as the Cage Cast.
But you were wrong.
Well, because I failed to do any research whatsoever before our previous recording, and after we did that, I did 5 seconds of research and found out that there was something already called the Cage Cast. Maybe I could have done that before we started last time.
So that's okay. We forgive you.
Okay. So, anyways, we are instead going with, I think, actually probably the better name that you came up with.
The Whiskey Cage.
The Whiskey Cage.
Yeah.
And because of that, we're both drinking whiskey today.
We are.
And
Salud,
we did see a salud. We did see a Cage movie today also.
I enjoyed your dismissive salute.
I'm sorry. I kind of wanted to get a couple of things out of the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so today we watched Bangkok Dangerous.
Dangerous.
My name's Joe. This is what I do.
When it comes to killing, make it quick. Make it clean.
Do the police know who you are?
No one knows who I am.
And never make it personal.
Don't take an interest in people outside of work. There is no such thing as trust.
What is your work?
Banking.
When you deal in the business of death, saving a life can be the most deadly job of all.
Yes. We had an arrangement.
Nicolas Cage.
If I see your people again, I'll kill you.
Bangkok Dangerous.
I think we learned a couple of things from our previous podcast, which was, for both of us, our first podcast ever.
Yes.
And it was a hot mess, but I think we had a good time.
I had a great time.
And hopefully anybody who listened to that had a good time.
Right.
A couple of things I think that I took away from it, besides having an incorrect name, or having a name that was already taken, was, we didn't even introduce ourselves in our last podcast, so I'll say this time, only this time. I am John.
Yes, hi John.
Yeah, and I will be co-hosting the Whiskey Cage along with
Rudy.
That's right. Okay.
So I'm Rudy and you're John.
That's
how we're doing.
That's as far as the listeners know, that's who we are.
Yes.
Another mistake that I think we made on our
inaugural podcast.
We could spend an entire podcast discussing the mistakes that we made in our first podcast, but
yes,
I think that we failed to just get out of the way a basic summary of the movie. And so today I'm going to ask you to read the IMDb description of this movie, because we did such a god-awful job of doing that last time, of trying to describe the movie.
I've been holding this description in my hand for the entire time that you've been speaking.
Is that your description?
This is the description of it. Here we go. From Google. Remorseless well, first of all, the title of the movie is Bangkok Dangerous.
And this came out in 2008?
Looks like 2008, yeah.
Okay.
Action/thriller, 1 hour and 45 minutes. And the movie is about remorseless assassin Joe, Nicolas Cage, is in Thailand to complete a series of contract killings for a crime boss called Surat. He hires a street punk, all the while planning to kill the youth at the conclusion of his assignment. Instead, Joe becomes Kong's unlikely mentor and begins a tentative romance with a local shop girl. But as Joe begins to let his guard down, Surat decides it's time to clean house.
Wait, could you go back? What? There's something about all along the way with the plot to kill the youth?
Yeah.
He was going to kill his assistant? Is that was his initial plan?
Yeah. all the while planning to kill the youth at the conclusion of his assignment.
See, we never. There was no indication of that was supposed to happen.
I thought that's what was going on at the beginning, and I think that was what the intro was.
Yeah, because
trying to,
he did introduce that guy as being like trash. So he's he's like a throwaway human.
Yeah,
I didn't know he was going to kill him though.
But this is what we'll discover as we go through the movie.
Yeah,
in the subsequent podcast.
In a subsequent.
Well, no, I'm sorry.
We're doing a two-parter.
We're gonna have a companion podcast.
Deep dive into Bangkok Dangerous.
All right, let's go.
Because I thought that. Well, yeah. Immediately, he did not take a liking to that guy. Well, because he like I said, he describes him as being trash, basically.
Right, and like I said, like in the beginning, the intro of the movie does a pretty good job at explaining the fact that this guy, Nicolas Cage's character, whose name is Joe, the Uber assassin, he cleans up. Like, he has these rules, as which we'll talk about.
Yes.
And one of the rules is leave no trace.
Yes.
And then every dude, street punk he hires to do his communication with the person that's hiring him.
The locals, yeah.
He makes it look like they overdosed on heroin, and that's the end.
Oh, yeah.
So that's
right.
the intro to the movie,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what they set up with this story in Thailand with this local Bangkok street punk, but that's where the movie begins.
Right. Yes,
Right.
it does.
So,
well, one thing I think, not that it really means anything, but just another connection to the first movie we did with Cage, the Primal.
yes.
These are both Lionsgate films, and for some reason, I don't know if that means anything. I don't know if just Lionsgate
What does it mean?
Well, maybe Cage has like a 20-film contract with Lionsgate, but because as you pointed out previously, that Lionsgate is kind of respected.
That's what I thought.
Maybe
but
not. Maybe
now
not.
looking at these movies, yeah, because I found a lot of similar issues with as far as like the lighting and like some of the technical aspects of it. Which, admittedly, I'm not an expert, but I've seen my share of movies, and you can get an eye for what sucks and what doesn't. As a little bit technically,
Right, and speaking in generalities, like
Yes.
this movie as an action movie. The action scenes were bad.
ugh.
And
Puke emoji.
I think so. So just a little background for our listeners. Rudy and I literally just finished watching this movie. Well, there was a big break because we had a bunch of goddamn technical fucking difficulties. But we basically just finished watching this movie, which is kind of, I think it's going to be our kind of game plan from now on. We're going to be watching a movie and then immediately recording to get our hot takes on.
I like
movies.
I like how you're giving people like a little bit of background,
Well,
a little bit of inside info into like what's going on with the whole like what we learned about the last. I didn't know it was going to be a whole. This is what we learned from the last podcast.
Well, this is how the sausage is made.
The sausage. The sausage.
Well, because neither one of us really know what we're doing when it comes to making podcasts.
Oh my God.
We're just discussing
That is true.
how
That's
this whole
very
thing.
Sorry. I will keep that from happening from now on. You damn Japanese wooden coasters.
Jesus Christ.
What? They're fucking from Japan, right?
They are. They're
not doing their job.
Well, I would blame that on the user.
Really? Okay. It's my fault. Sorry.
Okay. Since again we're just all over the place. There was something I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned this to you a couple of days ago. I think we should have a rating system for our movies, but it's going to be a little bit kind of counterintuitive because what I was thinking, I was going to rate movies and give them a whiskey rating.
Yes.
However, the higher number of whiskeys, that's the worse.
That's the amount of alcohol you need to consume to be
enjoy
able to enjoy the movie. It has no bearing on the quality of the movie.
So on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being best, 5 being worst.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I think the more I think 5 is the best worst and 1 is the worst best.
no, that doesn't. You're making
Or the other way around.
No. Okay, so a 1 whiskey movie would be a movie.
Best worst.
You really don't need. Maybe have a drink if you want.
Yeah.
But you don't need to drink to enjoy this movie.
Okay.
If it's a 5 whiskey movie, it's like this movie is shit. Just get drunk and have it playing in the background.
Sort of like the last movie we reviewed. That was that type of movie.
Okay, so well, let's get into it.
Okay.
If you had to give the previous movie a whiskey rating, and I don't know, do you want to do 1 to 5, 1 to 10? How? Because we can both drink a lot of whiskey, so
yeah, and we're
10 whiskeys is not out of the question.
Let's do a 10 whiskey scale.
Okay,
I think.
Was that a half a bottle?
I think people that are acquainted with whiskey and people that appreciate our enjoyment and enjoy to like to imbibe as we do would appreciate a scale that I think matches their drinkitude. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 whiskeys.
Sure. Yeah, because to some people, 5 whiskeys is
and so you don't have to drink.
It's a little more than breakfast on the river.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that movie.
Breakfast on the river. Too bad Nic Cage isn't in that movie.
That would be.
That would have been the first movie we did.
That would be the.
This is of course a reference to Anaconda. If you have this is a Nic Cage podcast, but for the love of God, if you have not seen Anaconda,
recognized game,
go see Anaconda. And
one of the greatest unintentionally great movies ever.
Freaking Cube is in that movie, right?
Yes.
John Voight is in that movie.
John Voight playing a Latino guy. A South American Latino guy. Yeah.
Okay. We could get this. We could do.
We're getting distracted.
7 hours.
Let's stick to Nic Cage.
Yeah. What was the point? Okay. So how many whiskeys would you give this movie?
Well, we're talking about this movie or the previous movie?
Well, we're doing both anyway, because we have to give a retrospective review.
I would give the last movie an 8 whiskeys. I would say.
Wow, that bad?
Well, I mean, it's the kind of movie where the more whiskeys you have, the more fun you have.
Yeah,
it's bad, but it's not necessarily reflecting on how bad it is. It's just, it's the kind of bad where the more drunk you are, the more fun you can have with it.
Yeah. I was, maybe we could have brought this up last time. The last movie looks like it's a movie you probably could have turned into a drinking game.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Like how many times somebody shot into a steel ship and no ricochets happened at all?
Yeah, how many times Nic Cage's gut hanging on his belt. But and just speaking to that quickly, this movie was made 11 years earlier than Primal, because this is 2008. Nic Cage is in fantastic shape in this movie. He looks good.
You think he's in fantastic shape?
He's in for a man who's probably in his mid-40s at that point.
Mid-40s?
I think so.
I thought he looked older than that. I don't know if it's just Nic Cage's. I don't know Nic Cage's aging.
I don't know how old he is in real life.
Yeah, I really don't either.
He looked good. I mean, compared to Primal, he looked like fat Indiana Jones. So in this movie, I thought he looked pretty good.
Compared to fat Indiana Jones, yeah, he looked pretty good.
Well, compared to fat Indiana Jones, I look good.
That's true. Yes.
So, we got distracted. I got distracted. You would give the previous movie, Primal, you give 8 whiskeys. How many whiskeys for this one?
This is the Rudy whiskey scale.
Rudy whiskey
this
scale.
One, oh my god.
The RWS.
See, I mean, I think we should talk about the movie first before we give a rating.
Okay.
Because there is a lot to consider.
You want to
entice
the listener.
Again, it's a Lionsgate film, which apparently meant something at one point, but they've just given up.
Jesus Christ, Lionsgate.
So I thought this movie, apparently this movie had some interesting history. So, it was originally a Southeast Asian movie.
Thailand, I believe.
In Thailand, okay.
The Brothers Pang.
The Brothers Pang directed it.
Yes.
And then somebody saw this movie and then wanted to make a Western remake of it. Happens all the time.
With Japanese horror movies that happens and stuff. Yeah.
Right. And it used to be some of the I think the Departed was actually
that was a Hong Kong movie.
Yeah. So
it was a 3-part Hong Kong movie, Infernal Affairs, I believe.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was kind of that thing, but It didn't work out exactly as anticipated, I believe.
I'm curious that maybe I definitely won't go back and watch the original, but I'm kind of curious, how I assume it's basically the same movie, but they probably had a Thai guy as in Nicolas Cage.
Character. I'm guessing, and Nicolas Cage. I'm guessing he saw the movie, he really liked it, he wanted to finance like a remake of it to get a wider audience.
He's a producer in this movie.
Yeah,
right?
he produces it, and he stars in it. So there you go. He puts the money up, and it's just this. There's a good movie in there. I felt like when I saw this movie, I could see like a good movie in there somewhere, but not in this form. Like it was just like. I don't know. It was trying to do too much of things that would try to make you like relate to the characters, and it just wasn't working.
I thought I had a similar feeling that there was. I think as we were watching the movie together, maybe you and I both commented on the fact that like we were comparing it to the Raid. If the guys who directed the Raid directed this movie. This could have been fucking awesome. It could have been just
it could have
balls
been
to the wall craziness. But as I mentioned earlier, the action scenes just weren't very good. They were trying they tried to do a high speed chase, but on the river market of Bangkok, which
in like fishing boats,
and
so like some of the scenes from the side, like it looks like it's going fast, and then they cut to like a scene with Cage in front of Cage, and you could tell that they're going like 15 miles an hour.
Yeah, it just didn't. It didn't get your blood boiling like they had hoped probably. That was a problem with it.
A big problem. And like I knew this movie was going to be a problem when the beginning of the movie, like, okay, they set up like he's this. They're trying to. The setup is like he's this super assassin dude. Like he is like straight up. He's John Wick before John Wick.
Well,
before John Wick retired, this was this guy.
He's like,
and he was at the John Wick at the end before he retires, basically. Yeah, that's what Nic Cage's character Joe is.
Because they have that little thing at the beginning where, they show him sitting at a table.
Yeah.
And then like the camera pans away and he's just gone.
And he's constantly narrating through the entire movie, which is so horrible. It takes you out of the whole thing. Like you could see like where they would. There's a movie there, like a good movie without the narration and like but it just it destroys it.
So, do we want to even discuss his 4 rules? I don't know. I wrote them down because I thought it was funny at the time, but...
Yeah, but in the context, before we get to the 4 rules, in that context of, like, the quality of the movie, like... So, he's this assassin guy, and for some reason, he's in Prague, right? Which there's a lot of, espionage and shit. It's an Eastern European country, Mother Russia, blah, blah. Well, he's there to assassinate somebody, and they bring in this obvious dissident, and then they bring him in to fucking interrogate him, and they bring him into a room with giant windows, just waiting for a sniper to say, "Hey, I'm here. Please shoot me in the fucking forehead before I spill all these secrets out." I just at that point I was like, okay, this is a movie which doesn't really take itself seriously, and I won't expect to take it seriously throughout.
And then there was another you're correct. That was completely ridiculous. And there was another thing for some reason. So like in that scene, Nic Cage does this thing where it's actually happens a couple of times. He does like these quick jumps to get into position. But then so he has the target set, and I'm holding like the rifle, but nobody can see this. But I'm doing this.
You're pantomiming a sniper rifle.
So, but he has him in his sights, but for some reason. He waits until his watch hits exactly like 9.
Because that's how much of a professional he is.
Because he's supposed to kill him at 9 p.m. And so like even though
no, you want to know what I thought that was about? He's so like on the point with his assassinism that like he told this dude, his helper dude, like, okay, you got to be here at this time. So he schedules it so precise. But they didn't make it. They weren't. good at showing you that in the movie. It was awkward. It was awkward how they handled it. It was really weird because they made a point of in the movie of showing how professional this guy was.
Yeah.
But it was just so weird. It was like it's like, what was he doing? What? Why is he doing that? It didn't.
Yeah.
Was not convincing.
Well, yeah, they make a really they really try to drive home how professional and how focused he is. And then when he goes to Thailand, he immediately breaks one of his
Let's
main
talk about
rules.
the rules. Let's talk about the rules.
So number one.
What are the rules?
Don't ask questions. There is no right and wrong. So just
that's a 2-part rule, right?
Yeah, that should be 1A and 1B.
Yeah,
But
because
basically-
he said there's 4 rules,
Yeah,
right?
but there's actually it's more like 6.5 or something like that.
At least.
So he's saying that when he gets an assignment, he kill and don't think about it.
Why don't you talk about this? Because you made a point.
Let's go through the 4 rules first. Okay.
Go ahead.
So number 2 is don't. This is okay. Well, I just said we're going to go through it first, but this is where he immediately breaks the rule. Number 2, don't take an interest in people outside of work. There's no such thing as trust. Yeah, well,
That sounds like 2 different rules.
Yeah, and also he fell in love with a girl immediately when he saw her.
But that was what the movie was about.
Yeah. Number 3, erase every trace, become anonymous. I think that's where it's going back to what you said earlier. He usually kills his local at the end. And number 4, know when to get out. So basically, he breaks every single one of these rules.
Yeah. But that happens at a specific point in time.
Yeah.
In the movie.
The one I have the biggest issue with is the don't take an interest in people outside of work.
Why is that?
Well, because he does that very quickly and and without any real. It's not like.
So wait a minute. So we're talking about a point in the movie where Nicolas Cage, this Joe super assassin, he's on a hit. He completes the hit. He's on an escape, and in order to avoid, at this point, he's thinking about getting out of the game. This is his last hit. He wants to maybe start a family and shit. Yeah. At this point in the game,
wait. Does he want to start a family? Does he say that?
Well,
you're just.
At one point, he's in a hospital.
Oh,
he's in a hospital. He's at an airport waiting to go to Thailand. And he sees a screaming child, and they're trying to make it seem like it's a touching scene, but for some reason he closes his eyes and the juxtaposition of a screaming child and Nicolas Cage closing his eyes just makes it seem like he hates the child that's screaming at him.
Because that's what I do when I hear a screaming child at the airport, and that's what I thought.
Yeah, they were trying to make it like a touching thing. I thought it was watch the movie just for that scene. Take some shots, do whatever you got to do. And that scene will make you laugh your ass off.
I think we both had a hard chuckle at that one.
I lost my shit.
Yeah.
So where were we?
We were making points about his. Okay, so don't take an interest in people elsewhere. And he falls in love with this girl. Almost.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So he's making the escape.
It's during his first or second hit. He's making his escape, and so earlier on his way to make the hit, he sees this little girl carrying some sort of shit she's trying to sell for
she
tiny
sees
pennies.
him loading up his gun.
He's getting ready. She's unloading his gun, and she's carrying some shit that she's supposed to sell for pennies to try to make a living for her family. And then he sees her, and then it's slow motion, and it's like. And then he's thinking about it. He's like, "Oh my god, this moment is so fucking deep." And then later on, as he's making his escape, he goes around a corner, and oh my god, she's right there carrying her shit that she's selling to try to make ends meet for her family. And he's either has to hit her or avoid her and end the mission. And he fucking does a fucking awesome motorcycle move, and then cuts himself on something
because there's random pipes.
And then that means he has to go try to find Thai antibiotics. And what does he find? What does he find at the Thai pharmacy?
Well, it's not just because he's kind of walking around confused. And
what do you mean he's walking around confused? Well, I thought he knew exactly what was going on. Oh fuck! I cut myself on this mission.
No, he doesn't know, and then he doesn't know what to buy, and that girl comes running out from behind the counter to him. and like just smiling at him. And at first we don't know,
Like he's a white savior or something?
Yeah,
Or what
yeah.
do you mean? How do you mean that?
Well, that's what it looks like. Like, and then we later on discover that girl is actually deaf.
Yeah, she can't. They cannot like communicate verbally because she's deaf,
Yeah.
which makes her way more sympathetic.
It just angel-like. She's the sweetest person that you could ever imagine.
If baby Jesus were going to come into the world in 2020, it would be through that woman.
As a Thai woman, it would be...
As a tiny Thai woman bearing the Jewish savior of the world. Right?
It would be...
Jesus, like, JC's a Jew, right?
Yeah.
As Owen Wilson famously said in Meet the Parents, right?
I hated that movie.
Why did you hate that movie?
I thought it was just so...
So what? Explain yourself.
You know, it's been a while since I saw it.
But what was your feeling about it?
I thought it was very... Like, the humor was very just like a hammer to your head. Like...
Sophomoric? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
And I like sophomoric humor, but...
Oh, okay. I think I see what you're saying.
I don't know.
You don't like family related humor, I don't think.
That is probably part of the problem. Yeah.
See, I could understand a little bit of it, but I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. So let's go back to this movie.
Okay. So one thing that I noticed, okay, well, first of all, Nicolas Cage's hair.
Oh my God! You mean his hair?
His
extensions? Because that's what he was fucking wearing in the whole movie.
My hair is a bird. Like, what is going? Like, it's
my hair is a bird. Your argument is invalid. Meme. Yeah, I think that's where that meme came from. This movie. I could be wrong, but that's what it looked like.
I do remember a certain point in time when this hairstyle was kind of popular.
What are you talking about? When was this hairstyle ever popular? Was
this like maybe I'm getting this guy's name wrong. This singer is it Scott Stab?
The fucking Creed guy?
Didn't Creed rock this? Was this his hairstyle?
I don't think so. Maybe like old Creed guy. That would be his hairstyle after his hair like recedes and shit. But he had like the fuller long hair type of shit. Like,
it's not a mullet.
No,
and it's not like long hair. But
it's the guy that's balding in front, but he's growing the rest of his hair out, so it looks like
he's slicking it back.
It looks like his head is wearing a cape.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. It looks like you put a head cape on.
It kind of, like a bat lives on his head.
Yeah, like a bat. Yeah, just constantly sucking the fucking brain juice out of his head.
So I was wrong. This wasn't actually in style. I think like 3 guys had this in the early 2000s.
Yeah, because who would ever rock that except for Nicolas Cage in Bangkok Dangerous?
And, okay, so, and this relates a little bit to the hair.
Yes.
So what also reminded me of, and not just the hair, but his mannerisms in this movie.
Oh, I want to hear this, because you made it a point to say he reminds you of somebody.
John Travolta's character in Pulp Fiction.
No.
The way, because you mentioned like he has like bad posture. He has like bad posture. He's kind of like he's kind of hunched over and like,
and he had the kind of a similar hair thing going on.
Exactly. Yeah. I think he might have been channeling a little bit of
the T-Man, a little bit of
is that Vincent Vega or
Vince Vega?
Yeah, because there's a Vega.
A little bit of Grease Lightning.
Yeah.
A little bit of Saturday Night Fever.
A little bit of that. God damn it! Now I'm knowing.
Did both of those guys play Elvis at one point?
I don't know if Travolta played it.
But Nic Cage played an Elvis impersonator, didn't he?
He played an Elvis-like character in a movie that we might cover at some point in the future.
What movie is that?
God fucking damn it.
I know of it. That's why I know this reference, but I have no idea what movie it is.
And once again, the benefits and disbenefits of drinking whiskey during your podcast is that you sometimes forget shit. Wild at Heart, I want to say, is the movie.
What? No. That's a fucking... Isn't that a fucking Jeff Bridges movie? I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe it is. Let's ask Google.
Okay, it's Okay, yeah. The same guy who directed Blue Velvet. Jesus Christ.
Who's the guy that directed Blue Velvet? David Lynch.
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, it's David Lynch movie. I think it's Wild. It's Wild at Heart. Wild Heart at Heart. So
What's the David Lynch movie that Nicolas Cage is in? Wild at Heart. You're right. 1990.
Fuck yeah.
Crime/romance movie. 2 hours and 5 minutes. Are we gonna watch this movie?
Oh yeah. It's
52% on Metacritic. Oh fuck.
Oh, fuck Metacritic.
Metacritic.
And
7.2 on IMDb and 66% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, his movies are difficult to. And I'm not saying Nic Cage. I'm saying directors. His movies are.
They're
difficult to
they're LSD fever dreams, right? Something like that. What are they? Like, what are his movies like? Visual allegories, or like what are they?
He is. I think he was an artist. Maybe I think he went to art school, and he's very visual, and he doesn't give a shit about linear stories and shit like that.
Right, but there's something else going on there with his movies, right? There's like some sort of meta shit or some sort of more conceptual, abstract things going on. I think that's what I feel like when I watch his movies.
Yeah, his movies are fucking fantastic, and they are those movies that when you finish them, you're like,
it makes you think about shit.
What the fuck?
What the fuck did I just see?
Yeah,
except for Dune.
That was a
that actually did make me say, "What the fuck did I just see?" Because I saw like people shooting lasers out of their hands while making noises like 5-year-old children playing
pew, pew, pew.
Spaceman. People were actually saying "pew pew pew."
Yeah.
And I know, Dune people are gonna hate on this, but the movie was very silly. But I'm really looking forward to the new one by that Canadian guy that has a. Villeneuve? The guy that did Arrival? Is that guy? Because that was a fucking good movie.
It might be.
Yeah. That was a really good movie.
That was fucking fan. I love that movie.
That's a great movie.
Arrival, I mean, when it comes to... I'm not like a sci-fi nerd, but I really enjoy like... When there's good...
You're a critical dude when it comes to movies.
When there's good sci-fi...
Especially sci-fi.
That can be like the best shit.
Yeah.
Like, same thing with, like, I do not give a flying fuck about the Avengers or any of that shit. But those Christopher Nolan Batman movies are some of my favorite
fucking
movies
awesome,
of all
right?
time.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so I don't even consider those as superhero movies or whatever that is. But those are just good movies, and this is a Nic Cage podcast. But anyway, Nic Cage played. Did he play? No, he was supposed to play.
He was supposed to play Batman.
He's going to be Superman.
Superman in Tim Burton's version of Superman.
Okay.
Tim Burton doing Superman. Could you imagine that?
Yeah, I can't.
What is that?
Well, Tim Burton did Batman.
Yeah, but Batman fits his dark aesthetic. I don't know if like as whiskey aesthetic. I don't know if that would fit Superman, because Superman is like a squeaky clean type of like all American like hero. Like look, it's a bird, it's a plane, yeah, that kind of shit. Yeah. Batman is like,
I'm Batman.
Yeah, I'm Batman, bitch. I'm Batman, motherfucker.
I need more whiskey.
Okay, let's get some more. I need more.
No, just hand me the whiskey. I will pour
I
it
need
in
more
my
ice.
glass.
I'm gonna get more whiskey.
I don't need any more. I'm just asking you to.
I will give you the whiskey.
Slide me the bottle of
yes,
whiskey.
here. I can't slide it to you. I have to hand it to you. I'm getting more whiskey.
Dear listeners, now is the time to get more whiskey.
Get more whiskey, people.
Our preferred whiskey is no sponsor.
We're drinking some good Irish whiskey. If you want to know what it is.
We're drinking okay Irish whiskey. If we were getting money, we'd be drinking awesome Irish whiskey.
We're drinking Bushmills.
It's better than fucking Jameson.
Why is this the Catholic one or the Protestant?
This is the Protestant one.
So
orange
Bushmills is a Protestant.
Orange-
That's why I feel comfortable drinking it.
orange is Protestant, green is Catholic.
Is
So-
that the Irish rules?
Yeah, like back in the day in Ireland, like I mean, if you were orange into like the wrong neighborhoods, that would be like wearing Crips colors, like
Wow.
like in,
That's like
in
wearing
blood,
blue
like-
into red.
Yeah,
or red
exactly,
into
man.
blue.
You would-
Motherfucker.
You can get your face shot off if you do that shit.
Jeez.
I actually
okay,
don't.
so which one is which? The
So,
greens or what?
Green is Catholic.
Green is Catholic.
Orange is Protestant. So
So what is the orange in the?
I don't know why.
You should know this, Mr. Irish dude.
I've never been to Ireland.
But your grandparents were from Ireland, right? So you're basically
Maybe great grandparents.
Are you sure about that?
I don't know.
You are.
I'm of Irish descent.
Of Irish descent. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
Well,
so Nic Cage is killing Irish people.
Is he killing? Okay. So anyway, yeah, this movie. I had a couple of points I did actually want to talk about this movie.
I remember. The rules have anything to do? What are the rules?
No, okay. I wanted to get out of the way. I felt like he was doing a Vince Vega impression.
The whole movie?
No, he like I said, he kind of like the hair and the way his mannerisms.
I can totally see that.
And then this
this
movie had this thing that I thought they could have explored more, but they really gave up on it quickly. Where he is kind of training the young, like he actually begins to form a relationship with this guy,
right?
And it kind of felt to me like.
But it's weird how it starts because like the intro gives you the insight. Well, he usually cleans up before he leaves and kills a person.
So he's reluctant to start a relationship with this guy.
Yeah. So like he's like he has no reason to at all. But for some reason, like he's kind of like at the end of his game. He's gonna retire. He's in Thailand, the land of 1,000 smiles, which. You know, Thai people will literally make you happier. They're the greatest people ever. They're awesome. And I guess he gets soft. That's basically what it shows you. The movie shows you that he gets soft-hearted.
Well, he took kind of a liking to this guy, yeah.
Yeah, like, because he, as he says in his overwrought narrator voice, I saw myself in him. Or, I saw a little bit of myself in him. That's why I was making this movie.
First of all, that's probably I don't. Is that a Nic Cage impression?
No, it's just.
But he did kind of.
That's what he's trying to do.
He kind of did that voice. Though,
he's trying to do that in the movie. Yeah, he's trying to be like cool and anonymous, like a mysterious assassin. But it's not. He makes it more like he is a creepy white guy in Thailand. That's what it seems like. Instead of like a cool like assassin guy, he's more like a excuse me, Miss Pharmacy Girl, can I take you out to dinner?
Yeah. Well, she clearly was interested in him immediately.
Yes.
Fulfilling all his like white guy nerd fantasies of going to Thailand and just having cute girls run up to him.
It's interesting that this movie takes place in Thailand. Why does it have to take place?
Well, I think the director's a Thai. I think it was originally a Thai movie.
Right. Well, but
I think they were lazy. I think they just basically remade.
Yeah.
Again, I have not seen the original movie, and I will probably never see the original movie. But I think they basically remade it with a big time Hollywood actor.
Yeah, and since Nicolas Cage was financing the movie, like he had to be the star to try to get some publication to the movie.
He was financing it, but he was producing it. I don't know if that necessarily.
I thought that means okay. Never mind. I don't know. Yeah. I really don't know.
So, and I just want to touch on this, going back a little bit to his relationship with the guy that is his like local helper guy. There was a point in this movie where it looked like it was going to turn into like a apprentice type, like it looked like the Leon the Professional,
right?
Except instead of Natalie Portman, it was a 30-year-old.
So my favorite part of the movie is basically like he's always thinking. They really try to hammer home like his internal struggle throughout the whole movie, and he's like thinking like, oh, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy. So his part of his deal is the person that hires him. He goes in there. He uses these local thugs as go-betweens between like the person that hired him and him to communicate on the hit. And he always asks the person that hired him for heroin so he can take out his go-between at the end of his job and make it look like a heroin overdose. But that's his method. That's what he does to clean up. That's his rule. Like, leave no trace. Yeah, I gotta fucking kill the go-between. So this is the story.
Nobody cares about a junkie.
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. No one's gonna miss a fucking local street thug that is harassing people for money, and then he disappears, and now that people get to keep their money.
Which is actually kind of a smart move, actually.
Right, yeah, exactly. Like, that's part of where I say, like, somewhere in this script is a good movie, because there are some parts where it looks like it's somebody competent, like, took a hold of this shit, it could be a pretty fucking cool movie. Like you were talking about earlier, like, if the dudes that did Raid did this movie, it would be so much more entertaining.
Well, at least the action scenes.
Yeah, because a lot of this movie was action scenes, and they made it a point to be action scenes, but they were fucking horrible.
They were not very actiony.
Oh my god, yeah, they were. At one point, Nicolas Cage and some random Thai guy are trying to shoot each other between 12 pallets of 5-gallon water bottles.
It was awful.
It's like they're in the Sparklets factory shooting each other between pallets of water bottles. And it's like, oh, who's going to shoot who first? Like, bah, 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 bah. It went on in slow motion for like 5 minutes.
And then there's that scene where he shot the guy like in the boat on the river.
Oh, yeah.
And he just stands there and like he holds the pose for like 2 minutes.
He puts like 6 rounds in this guy, and they're like perfectly like vertical. It's like, bah, 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 bah.
Well,
and so it's like
that was the most artistic part of the movie, where the boat
said that as that happened, and it was very artistic.
It was beautiful.
And then they took it to a level where it didn't need to go. They went way further than it needed to go. like over dramatic. That's what happened.
Well, this movie. Oh, that's a fantastic description of this movie. It's over dramatic. It could have They could have played it a little more subtle, but they relied on too many like action tropes.
Everybody's seen this movie before.
Yeah, And I think I said that to you before. I was like, I know. Like,
this looks like
although taking that back.
Go ahead.
The end of this movie surprised me.
Did it surprise you in a good way or a bad way or a meh way?
I was poquito sad.
What did you really?
Really?
So it got you. They got you with it.
I thought
they got you.
Cage and the girl were going to get back together. But I will say this. It's on a happy note, the hot stripper girl did not get her tits cut off.
No, she did not. That's great.
That's good to know.
I was hoping she didn't get her tits cut off.
Yeah, they shouldn't cut tits off.
No.
But anyways, that...
because that is actually a threat at one point in the movies. Yeah. I will cut her tits off. She didn't get her tits cut off. So, spoiler alert, if you were hoping for that, fuck you. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, I can't remember if we mentioned it in the previous podcast, and we're a little late to mention it now, but you should watch the movie before you listen to this, because there
are going to be lots of spoilers.
Yeah, not that there's, although, like I said, the ending of this movie is kind of surprising. Nic Cage does commit suicide, and completely unnecessarily commit suicide.
I don't know what he's doing.
I think he could, being the highly trained assassin that he is, he could have killed that guy and gotten away.
Yeah.
Easily, right?
Because at one point in the movie, he ninjas himself into a fucking...
He
ninjas himself into a fucking compound to kill this mob boss, and he totally does it. He's in full, like, beanie gear, like, black beanie, sweatsuit shit, and he's in a pool with his beanie still on, chokeholds this guy, fat mob boss, to death.
And the mob boss has a bodyguard on duty.
Yeah, who's just like chilling there, watching his naked girlfriend on the lawn chair with her boobies out.
So Thai boobies hanging out.
But then some pretty good natural Thai boobies.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, pretty good. And then, so Nic Cage, and then they make a point for some reason after he murders this mob boss to show the Nicolas Cage frog swimming technique to escape into the darkness of the jungle. Yeah. I don't know why they need to show that. That's just, but it was really he really did his frog swimming technique rather well.
Do you think that was Nic Cage frog swimming?
That's a great question.
Because there was a point back in the pharmacy. Remember when he's showing his scar or his cuts to the pharmacist?
Yes.
It is clearly not Nic Cage's arm.
Are you sure?
It's very dark. It's
So,
darker hue than
What are you
Nic
saying?
Cage.
What are you saying? Maybe they got a
body
buffer
double.
body double that was at the beach tanning or something.
I already said
hanging out with local females.
I thought Cage looked good in this movie. Like,
You thought he looked good?
physically. Like his body.
Better than the last movie, but I wouldn't say good. He didn't. I thought to me he looked like a fucking junkie in this movie, like a fat stoner. Yeah, I did not. He did not.
Fat stone. He was not fat at all.
No, I'm sorry, not fat. Just like a unmotivated. Like he did not look like a dangerous guy to me in this movie at all.
Well, no, there's one point I can't remember what it was, but he specifically shows off his
guns,
triceps,
his GUNZs.
Not the buys.
But it doesn't look.
He's going deep.
Doesn't look good. It's not like it. It's like okay,
anyway, like he's a man of a certain age, and I think he looks.
Well, how old was he in this movie? Was what 2008?
Yeah.
How old was he?
Again, I don't know how old Cage is. I think he was probably in early 40s, late 30s at this point.
How old was Nicolas Cage in 2008? 44 years old. He looks older to me than 44.
I think physically, like maybe his face, but body, dude.
His face looks older to me.
Okay, body wise, most 44-year-old dudes have dad bod. He didn't. He didn't have dad bod.
No, but he didn't look like a dangerous assassin to me in that movie at all. He looked like a normal dude. He
looked like an aging singer for a band. Yeah, for like
a Coldplay type band and like
like they had a couple of big hits in the early 2000s, and now he's touring Thailand and like that's his character.
And he has many fans. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I understand. Okay. So yeah, at the end of the movie, he fucking shoots him. So he puts the mob boss's head again next to his head, and he points the gun at his head, and he's really sure. He's definitely sure that if he pulls the trigger, the bullet's going to go through his skull, both sides of his skull, and then at least
kill
one
Surat.
portion of Surat's skull and kill him also. So that's 2.5 skulls. I don't know if I don't feel confident in the fact that if I had a 9mm automatic weapon and I really wanted to kill you, if I put your head next to my head, that I would accomplish that by pulling the trigger. If it was next to my skull.
I don't know enough about ballistics to comment on that, but
I don't feel confident at all.
Okay, I get to go back to
I don't know anything.
I think the bigger issue is that wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
He could have gotten away.
Yeah.
Easily.
I thought what he was doing was trying to get the cops involved with because he was the mob boss was tied up with his henchmen in the car. I thought he was trying to induce a shootout between the two, which would make sense if he's a fucking master assassin trying to cause some shit so he can get away, and then this is what really happened here. And then, no one would know he was involved at all. That's what I thought a smart assassin would do. But apparently, Nicolas Cage is a fucking love-drunk assassin in this movie, and his ability to not fall in love with a deaf Thai pharmacy worker is his undoing.
Yeah, that's all it took.
That's the moral of the movie.
Well,
of the story. That's what happens.
It is, and that is
because he dies. He shoots himself in the head.
He shoots himself in the head,
and then his protege is watching with his girlfriend, who that's a big part of the movie. Who
still has her tits.
Yeah. She didn't get her tits cut off.
They did not.
But for some reason, throughout the entire movie, so basically, there's there's Nicolas Cage doing his thing, and then his henchman dude is trying to throw game at this chick.
Both of them, like, just obliterating rule number 2. Don't take an interest.
Yeah.
People outside of work.
That's Nic Cage assassin rule number 2.
There's no such thing as trust.
But he likes this chick, so he's throwing mad game at this chick. He doesn't care about the rules because Nic Cage hasn't told him about the rules at this point. So he's just like doing his thing. And then it's like, where were we?
Nic Cage rules the guy thing.
Oh yeah, there's a love story between like the fucking club hoe and his guy.
Oh, come on. Club hoe? That's a little harsh. Stripper bitch.
There you go, yeah. The stripper bitch. So there's that angle, and they try to make it believable, and then Nic Cage has to come in and save the day as the white guy assassin savior guy. Even though he's training his Padawan learner to do assassin moves with knives and shit.
But
which
how
in
much
the
is
scene, he does an actually decent job of like.
That was your favorite scene.
No,
in the movie,
that was
right?
not my favorite scene in the movie. Was Nic Cage and that guy in the kitchen doing a knife like lesson.
Well, that's what I thought.
Lesson.
But that's what I was saying.
But later on, the dude, his little protege goes on to Surat, the gangster's place, to get his girlfriend out of there.
Yeah.
And 2 dudes ambush him, and he takes care of them with the moves that Nic Cage taught him.
Yeah.
But then the guy that's Surat's right hand man is like, hey, we got your girl and we got guns, so you better fucking bow down. And he's like, oh fuck, I can't fight you guys because you got guns. So yeah, that's what happens there. And then Nic Cage comes in and saves everybody. And then he blows his brains out at the end, which he did not have to do at all because he could have totally got away. Because he gets away at so many points in this movie where he should not have gotten away. I mean, there's elephants at some points, and there's like people all around looking, and then he just like, jumps on another fucking scooter and takes off, or jumps in a fucking ditch and swims away, or he just like takes off his jacket and then throws his tie out, and then he's just like walks off, even though he's the giant white guy in the middle of a bunch of smaller Thai people.
He steals a $700 camera from a guy, an American guy or a white guy,
and that guy's not gonna want any sort of camera back.
He's not even gonna notice that somebody just stole his camera out of his because Nic Cage puts a hat on and then. Suddenly, nobody in Thailand recognizes Nic Cage.
Now he's press, and now you have to be like, "Oh shit, they're press. We don't have to pay attention to them." Yeah. So, anyway, this movie, I don't know. Like, I had a lot of mixed feelings about this movie. But what did you think about this movie?
I too had mixed feelings because.
What were your Let's talk about your mixed feelings.
Well, because I thought. Even though it had a bunch of cliche shit,
was this your main problem with the movie? Is that it was just cliche movie, 2058, or what was your main problem with the movie? Well, what was your main problem with the movie?
Yeah, a lot. Like it's for the first I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. It felt like it was just a fucking music video.
I really agree with you.
With some voiceover shit.
You want to know what I thought about it that goes along with that?
Yeah.
This movie was montage movie. Like this whole movie felt like a fucking montage.
You're right.
And I think that goes to what you're saying. I think exactly
Jesus
goes
Christ,
to what you're saying.
I didn't even think about that, but you were 100%.
This whole movie was a montage.
It's an hour and a half of montage, but yeah. God damn it! Now I'm rethinking my whole.
No, you have to rethink your experience.
You just opened up my mind.
And Nic Cage blew your mind.
Well, Nic Cage didn't, but apparently Rudy did.
So yeah, that's like I really think there was a good idea there, and somebody like competent, if they would have got a hold of it, would have made it a better movie. But what we got was like not good.
Yeah, but because I think that they had. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
No, well, they had like a bunch of different ideas going on. Like like I said earlier, like that part with the whole like thing where he was taking on an apprentice, basically, like that was the entire movie of Leon the Professional. Like that's a movie in itself, and they had one scene with it, and then like I don't know, was he his apprentice? Was he not his apprentice? Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
How much did that guy learn?
They really did not do a good job of showing how he becomes the apprentice and what sort of training he goes under. They kind of just threw scenes in there to make you think that, oh yeah, he learned some shit from this guy.
And then also like the love story with the girl at the pharmacy. It's like, okay, like they're instantly, because okay, in our minds they've seen each other 3 times, but now fucking in love.
Correction. With her. The first time he goes to the pharmacy, he's not even looking for some chick. He's just looking for some fucking bandages and like some antiseptic shit. And then this girl is there, and he's like, "Oh my god, she's so hot!" And he tries to hit on her, but he doesn't realize that she's deaf.
She comes running up to him.
Yeah, but he definitely notices her as she goes in.
Oh yeah.
They make a point of showing like
the
eyes with Cage, and then they cut to her. Like
when Nic Cage smiles at you,
you're done.
It's like a what is that called? Like a
you're enraptured in the love of
no. Like I think it's using sci-fi shit. Like you're in a zone of like they're in their gravity or something like that. Like
you're in the gravity well. I don't know what you're talking. What do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about.
Once again, I'm using hand gestures
on a purely, yeah.
Well, our next podcast will definitely not include video.
We'll clean that up. Clean up in post. So yeah, where do we live off? Nic Cage and his So in my opinion, there's a good movie somewhere in here. It was not executed well. But if you drink enough and watch it, like I wouldn't spend money for this movie. If it happens to if you happen to come across it while it's on, or if it's free on something like Prime or whatever, and you're with your lady or whatever, or you're by yourself and you feel like fuck it, be with your lady, get drunk, and then watch a fucking Nic Cage Bangkok Dangerous movie, and then try to see like, oh shit, because they do show some interesting aspects of I think Southeast Asia.
Apparently there were just elephants roaming the streets of.
Well, yeah, they're just cruising around Bangkok.
It.
So apparently they filmed some of this stuff in Southeast Asia, right?
I assumed it was in Bangkok.
Hence the name of the movie, Bangkok Dangerous.
Peligroso.
Right. So what did we learn from this movie? Did you like the end of the movie?
Okay. Well, to answer your first question, we learned nothing.
We learned nothing. We learned that Nic Cage breaks all his assassin rules all the time in this movie. Yeah. That's what we learned. Because at first he has 4 assassin rules, but every rule seems to have like 2 points.
Yeah,
so it's like 8 assassin rules.
Yeah.
And he breaks all of them.
He breaks them all
in the effort to find
pretty
love.
Pretty quickly.
He used to find love. Right? Like he's looking for love because he's at the end of his rope, basically.
Wrong places. Yeah, he is looking for love, and apparently he is, because he doesn't seem to care at the beginning. Why doesn't he find? Because he's at the beginning of the movie. He's in Prague.
He's in Prague.
A lot of hot girls in Prague. I'm guessing.
Lot.
Like if you're
some of your favorite, right?
Yes, yeah.
Some of your favorite girls.
If you want to dig into the depths of the old John's. Yeah.
I believe you were entertaining at one point in time a trip to Prague.
I enjoy the artwork.
Yes, and the architecture
of Prague. From what I've been told, it's goddamn fantastic.
Actually, like
I'm not kidding.
No joke. That's a part of the world that to me is fascinating, because I've I've never been to Europe, and that's a part of Europe that is like seems to be really different, and seems to be influenced a lot by I don't know, like. Is that Russian culture? I don't know. I'm sure they have their own culture. I'm sure, but like to Western people, it seems like we don't know. So like that's interesting. I would love to learn about.
There's something. There's especially.
There's a mystery there.
There's something kind of. There's a dark, unknown about.
Yeah.
Because in some of my favorite composers are from that part of the world, and they write some stuff that is just
striking. It's like.
Yeah, striking is the word. Striking is the word.
It radiates with something like deep inside you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it breaks all kinds of harmonic rules, but it's just like.
It fucking makes you feel a certain way, right?
Yeah.
That's what music is about, and I think that's what some of the best composers like bring out of you, like in their music.
Exactly, and.
Does this become like the music cast all of a sudden?
Well, it will for a second here. That's why, like, if you listen to like Bela Bartok, who the guy does shit that like every single rule that you ever learned in music, like this dude breaks it, but then you listen to his music and it's like you relate to the.
You're like, oh, I understand what he was thinking with that one.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Yeah.
This movie does not do anything like that.
If you want to be an assassin, do not watch this movie. Like if all you're like, if you're like fanboying over being like a super cool assassin, because like Nic Cage really tries to be a super cool assassin in every scene in this movie. Like his tone of talking, he's like, yeah, make sure you're not late. If you're late, you don't get paid. If you're not, blah 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 blah, you don't get paid.
You're doing this on the phone.
If the tacos are soggy, don't get paid. Like that's what he does to the whole movie. He's like,
do that, but that's hilarious. The next time you go to a taco truck, tacos are sake. These don't get paid. If tacos are sake, I will give you $1 million if your tacos are sake.
So yeah, that's kind of like he tries to do like the super cool, like. Honestly, Keanu Reeves would do a much better job.
Well, I really thought he was doing a Vincent Vega fucking. I
can totally see that. I can totally see.
Not
that.
just the hair.
Now that you say that, yeah, I can totally see that.
He hunches over and he kind of like.
What do you think he was thinking in this? Because he's one of the executive producers of this movie, so I believe that. There was a script there was a movie, some people liked it, they brought attention to it, they brought it to him. He was like, oh yeah, cool, maybe I can be in this movie. That's what I think happened.
I probably.
Does that make sense to you?
I think so. And he's like,
then like it just turned into like a fucking.
I could play that guy.
Even though I'm like 44 years old and like.
Which is not old. That's not
old. But for somebody that's not known to do action scenes with. In this movie,
plenty of action scenes. Come on,
like some intense action scenes, dude.
I bring that. I put that on the director. The directors did not.
I do not agree with you.
You think it was Nic Cage's fault that the action scenes look bad?
In part, yeah, because I don't think Nic Cage can do some shit that other people can do. This was not a movie that he should have done. Like, it's fine if he wants to produce it, but he shouldn't have been starring in it because it's just not like.
So if Keanu had made this movie, you would have been like, "Oh, it's the greatest movie ever made."
Yeah, because Keanu is much superior to Nic Cage.
Well, maybe you should start the Keanu cast.
What?
The woke cast.
I think you think if Keanu was in this movie, it would be a better movie.
I don't think it was Nic Cage's fault. I think it was the director's fault.
Why don't you expound on that?
Well,
because I don't think you're necessarily wrong. I don't necessarily.
As I said earlier, like those scenes, like, and unfortunately, I don't know his name or her name or their name. Whoever directed The Raid could have made this movie a much more interesting movie if they had made it in that style. because I felt like these people were trying to make it in that style, but they were doing it poorly. It's no fault to Nic Cage.
Right.
No fault to the other actors. I think they're trying to do these sped up sections, and they're trying to do like this, that, and it just, Jesus Christ, it was kind of boring. I was like, okay, get to the next part.
Yeah.
But we discussed this a little bit earlier. I am impatient when it comes to movies, especially when it comes to action movies.
Right.
We typically all know what's going to happen at the end of an action movie. This movie was actually a little bit different because he killed himself, and that doesn't usually happen.
But I felt cheated out of that. I thought that was I thought that was, they were trying to cheat me out of my emotions at that point because, and I was like, fuck you guys. It didn't work with me. Because I felt they were trying to manipulate my emotions to make their movie satisfying. And I was like, nah, fuck you.
Because at the end they show the girl, like the most innocent girl in the history of the world. And like
in Thailand, that's never sucked a foreign dick.
Well, I don't think that has anything to do with it.
So yeah.
But like she's like this super innocent deaf girl that like he actually is in love with, and she's. And then,
so what happens there? Because I really didn't get that last part.
Because I guess he feels he can never have her, so he might as well just end it all. It doesn't make
any sense to me.
It's fucking awful. It's that,
and that's what I'm saying.
I would have liked this, and I like dark endings in movies.
You do. Actually.
I think that.
But this is not the dark ending you want. This is the dark ending that's just frustrating.
This is a bad.
Yeah, this is a frustrating dark ending.
What is that movie? It's not The Fog. The
Mist.
The Mist.
Yeah, that was frustrating.
Jesus fucking Christ.
That was dark. But I thought that worked. I like it. But I like that one.
But it makes me like go to sleep at night and not want to go to sleep at night. Like it's
yeah.
It's horrible and like it makes you think about things.
Right.
This movie makes you think about things like. Nic Cage could have gotten out of that car and walked away. Like, he could have shot that dude and snuck out behind a fucking barrel.
Right.
Like,
and he's trying really hard to be like a super cool assassin, dude.
Yeah,
it's just like, nah. So yeah, you need to have like quite a few whiskeys in you to appreciate the brilliance of this movie.
But yeah, so this is throwing my whole like my own whiskey rating system. Like, first of all, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But I would say like I'm gonna give it like 5 whiskeys.
5 whiskeys? You would enjoy this movie with 5 whiskeys
because I think you need to know the ending. And then if I can do this, which I don't think there are any rules. 5 whiskeys during the movie. 3 more whiskeys afterwards because you're gonna be so angry.
Yeah,
the end, like that should be another thing. Like it's like how many whiskeys do you need after this movie?
Anger whiskeys after.
Anger whiskeys.
I'm wasting my time with this shit. I need to drink some angry whiskey.
That totally sounds like something I would come up with. I'm proud of you.
How many anger whiskeys do you think? So we can have our ratings.
Okay. So there's like pre and post whiskeys.
Yeah, I'd say at least 3 anger whiskeys. 3 angry whiskeys.
Because wrapping your head around, well, not wrapping your head, but just
realizing you watch a shit movie that could have been good. If somebody else did this movie, it would have been good. Like, because there's a script there, I think that is interesting. Like, everybody's done assassin movies, but this one was like a little bit different because it's a little bit different. It could have been done well, but it wasn't done well in this incarnation of it.
I think I agree for the most part with you.
I'm glad you agree with me.
Well,
because I think I'm right.
You usually do.
Yes, I do. So, 5 whiskeys for you?
Scale. Okay, so now we just introduced this idea of like post.
You introduced this earlier.
Post whiskey. I mean, 3 and 3. I'm gonna give it a 3 and 3.
Three
Three
pre and 3 post.
Yeah. Well, 3 during, 3 after.
I'm gonna say 5 to get you through the movie, and then 2 to fucking get you drunk enough to forget about it and pass out.
or just like, hey, have another 3 and discuss it with your friends and be like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell just happened?
And say like, oh fuck, what's in Nic Cage movie Bangkok Dangerous.
That's his porn star name.
Yeah, let's end this shit.
No. I think we're gonna go on.
Okay.
Wow, that's interesting because last week I wanted to end and you just wanted to keep on going. And now
Let's think about it and see what happens in Bangkok Dangerous.
There was something I was just gonna bring up. Well, no, I guess we are ending. So. So that was the second episode of
number 2,
Whiskey Cage.
The Whiskey Cage.
Brought to you by. We don't know. We don't know who the hell was brought to you by.
That's brought to you by Keyona Commander.
Okay.
The scariest girl in 3rd grade at my school. That's what this podcast is. Because she would say Commander that shit and be like, motherfucker. Yeah. She was gangster, dude. No one fucks with her.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you, people. Enjoy.
Oh, no.